Hi library friends, it's Miss Abby. Welcome to a new month of Read Aloud Roundup. November is a short month for Fridays, so I'm going to show you the books that we're reading and then we'll get started. Now remember, Read Aloud Roundup is where we read a little bit from a lot of books, and then based on what you hear, you can decide, is this the right book for me? And if you think that you would like to read the rest of that book, you can run down to the library, check it out, and then read it. Then you can think, would I want to read more books by this author? Or do I want to read books by another author that are similar? And you can ask your librarian for help finding those. This month, we're reading books by Michelle Cuevas. We're reading The Care and Feeding of a Pet Black Hole, Confessions of an Imaginary Friend, and Beyond the Laughing Sky. Let's get started. Today we're going to be reading a little bit from The Care and Feeding of a Pet Black Hole by Michelle Cuevas. Let's get started. And remember, when there's illustrations, I'll flip the book around so that you can see them, okay? Chapter 1, The Mysterious Something That Followed Me Home. This story began on an afternoon the color of comets, with a girl dressed all in black. A sad girl. A girl with a hole in her heart and darkness on her horizon. That girl, of course, was me. My name is Stella Rodriguez, I told the guard at the gates of NASA. I'm 11 years old. I'm here to speak with Carl Sagan. It was late, almost dark, and I was alone. You and Mom would not have approved. The guard looked up as if he'd heard an annoying mosquito, decided he imagined it, and went back to reading his magazine. Actually, I tried again, I'm Carl Sagan's great-great-great-granddaughter, and I'm here at NASA to tell him that in the future, we've invented time travel. Please go away, said the guard. But I have an appointment? No, said the guard, you definitely don't. Fine, okay, maybe I don't, I said a bit too loudly, but if you take into consideration chaos theory or the butterfly effect, the very notion of long-term predictions, for example, an appointment, becomes absurd impossibility. But before I could continue trying to sound scholarly, an ear-piercing alarm started ringing. Lights began flashing, and I could hear shouts from inside the building. Okay, I said, putting up my hands. Let's all just take it easy. I'll go peacefully. No need for alarms. I'm too bookish for prison. But the guard wasn't paying attention to me. He grabbed his phone and started shouting something about code reds and protocol. And before I knew what was happening, he had run inside, leaving the gate wide open. I wish I were the type of person who would sneak into NASA during a molecular robot alien rocket invasion explosion. But you know very well, I'm not that type. Not even close. I'm more of a chicken liver jellyfish fraidy cat type. And so I left. I left without seeing Carl Sagan or giving him the important package I'd come to deliver. Time was of the essence since the Voyager launch date, August 20th, 1977, was mere months away. Ooh, this takes place in the future. In the past. Avoiding the alarms at NASA, I went to the bus stop and waited. It was the last moment of light, and I had a strange feeling, like when you sense a breeze on your ankles in a room with no open windows or doors, like when you're sure you could see a face in the moon and it's staring right at you, like when you're the seeker during hide and seek and you just know you're being watched through a closet keyhole. Darted my eyes from side to side, looking in the bushes and up at the trees. I didn't see anything anywhere but dusk. Ooh, that's kind of a creepy feeling, right? To feel like someone's watching you. Ooh. And so, I was understandably relieved when the bus came around the bend. That is, until I got on the bus, and things started to get even stranger, if possible. My wallet! Shouted a businesswoman. Someone stole my wallet! Everyone scanned the bus for a shady-looking character. And where's my toupee? Asked an elderly man. This continued for 3 more stops. Shouts of, where's my lunch? And who took my pet frog? To get off the bus, I had to weather an obstacle course of people on their hands and knees, searching for something or other under their seats. The stop was only a few minutes from home, but it felt like miles. I mean, what was going on? The dusk had turned to straight-up gloom, which wasn't good, because by that point I had a severe case of the creeps, a heebie-jeebie fever, and a touch of the willies. I'm not afraid of the dark. You know that from all our time spent stargazing. But the minute I started walking, I got goosebumps down my arms and legs, and all the way up my neck. I had such a case of the jumps that I'm pretty sure I had goosebumps on my eyeballs, which, by the way, were not helping because in a matter of minutes it had gone from almost dark outside gloom to dark at the bottom of a pocket. I looked from side to side. "Who's there?" I asked. No one answered. Has anyone in any scary movie ever answered that question? "Oh, glad you asked. It's me, the axe murderer. Dang it, that was actually supposed to be a surprise." So I did what anyone in my position would do. I started to run. Fast. I ran through the dark like the muck down a drain. I sprinted through the dark as the inside of the whale. I didn't hear footsteps or twigs breaking behind me, but the feeling was becoming stronger. Someone was lingering just out of view. I was being watched. I was being followed. But by who? Or worse still, by what? Chapter 2. Hello, darkness. "Where have you been? You were supposed to be watching me until Mom gets home. I could have eaten glue or something." That shrill voice belonged, of course, to Cosmo, a fitting name given that he's a total space cadet of a 5-year-old brother. "Shh," I said. "Help me batten down the hatches and secure the premises." I ran around, locking doors, closing all the window shades, and turning off the lights. I peered out through a crack in the front curtain. It had begun to rain, and it was hard to see whatever monster had been following me home. "This is fun," whispered a voice behind me. "What are we doing?" I looked down at Cosmo. He squeezed his little hands in excitement. "Did you eat glue?" "No," he replied sheepishly. "Good," I said. "Very mature. Come on, I'll make us some dinner." After fear-flavored grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup eaten in almost dark, I told Cosmo I was going to do my homework. But really, I just needed some alone time to think. I put on my fuzzy blue robe with the stars on it and stared out my bedroom window on the second floor, trying to get a better view of the front yard. I tried using my telescope, but it just made me sad. Extra sad. Sadder than my lingering everyday fog. It had been our father-daughter thing, just you and me. But now you're gone, and there are monsters in the yard, and everything is wrong. I sat slumped with my chin on the windowsill. A raindrop slid down the glass like a tiny shooting star. "I wish," I said, closing my eyes, "that I could make everything awful just disappear." When I opened my eyes, I caught a glimpse of something outside, just for a moment, before it darted into a cardboard box near the trash cans on the curb. "Huh?" I asked. I used my hand to clear the fog from the glass. Yes, there was definitely something in the box. Something small and dark and shivering. A kitten, I thought, trying to convince myself that I had seen the flash of whiskers and flick of a tail. Armed with rain boots and a flashlight, I made my way outside. Luckily, Cosmo had gone to his room and wasn't around to bug me. "It's just a cat or a stray dog," I said to myself as I crept across the yard through the rain. Look it. Do you think it's just a cat or a dog? I don't know. "Here, kitty, kitty," I said as I got closer. "Please don't be a skunky. I moved slowly and carefully, trying to see the critter, but when my flashlight lit up the inside of the box, what I saw was not a kitten or a pup. It wasn't even a skunk. What I saw was darkness. I stumbled back away from the box, tripped on the curb, and dropped the flashlight. When I finally retrieved it, my hands were shaking as I aimed it back at what I thought I'd seen. The thing inside was gone. I flailed the light around wildly and found the creature creeping closer and closer toward me. It didn't seem to have legs or arms. It was just a blob of darkness, no bigger than a rabbit. But not regular darkness, no. This was dark like the dark inside of an old closed book, except with two eyes. Eyes that shimmered and seemed to have tiny galaxies inside of them. "Ack!" I yelled, pointing at the thing. The thing, in response, looked behind it to see what was so scary. "Stay back!" I said. But every time I took a step away, the creature crept a little closer to me. In fact, from the way it moved and the look in its eyes, I got the craziest feeling. I think it wants me to pet it. But I'm not insane. Instead, I threw my flashlight at it, hoping it would run away. To my shock, though, the flashlight didn't hit the creature. It just disappeared completely inside the thing. The flashlight was there one moment and gone the next, absorbed without a trace. "What in the world?" I asked. And then, in the dim glow of the street lamp, the creature gave a very unceremonious, light-filled burp. Chapter 3. What do you think that is? Make a prediction. Chapter 3. Things I know about the thing. You're probably wondering what I did after the creature from the cardboard box swallowed my flashlight, aren't you? Did I run? Call the National Guard? Faint? Well, I did what I thought you would do. I invited it inside, out of the rain. "So this is my room," I explained. "It's small, but it's home." I hadn't yet touched the creature. Once I started walking backward toward the house, it just sort of followed me. It didn't seem dangerous, but then again, how would I know? Maybe it was lulling me into a sense of security with those big, needy eyes and was going to devour me any minute. The thing had started swallowing stuff in my room. Nothing important, just dust bunnies and some of Cosmo's unidentifiable works of art that he'd drawn for me. I dumped out a jar of pennies and scattered them around, hoping that would keep the thing busy while I made a list. Things I know about the thing. Very, very dark. No hands or legs, just a blob. Has eyes, I think. The eyes look like little galaxies. Swallows? No. Absorbs? Disappears anything it wants. Likes to eat flashlights, dust, poorly executed artwork, pennies. Docile, so far. Seems to want to be touched. My first thought was, alien. It's an extraterrestrial that's escaped from NASA and followed me home. But from everything I knew about aliens, they were usually green and had arms and legs and didn't want to be petted like a puppy. I pointed to a poster of the Milky Way on my wall. "Is that your home?" I asked. "Outer space?" The creature didn't seem to recognize the galaxy as its place of residence, or if it did, was more interested in consuming all of my left shoes one by one. I looked and looked through all of my science books, trying to find anything that resembled this creature, and then, in a book about theoretical astronomy, I found this. Black holes form when a massive star dies and collapses into itself. Because of the relationship between mass and gravity, this means they have an extremely powerful gravitational force. Virtually nothing can escape. Even light is trapped by a black hole. A black hole is a dark center of gravity that swallows everything in its path. Was that the answer? Am I wondered, the proud owner of a pet black hole? And that's where we're going to stop for now. What do you think so far about the care and feeding of a pet black hole? Do you think it really is a black hole? Or do you think that there's some other explanation? I'm really hoping that as we read more of this book, you can read it by yourself, that there's some really good and interesting science in it, because science is so much fun, especially science about something that's as fascinating as a black hole. Oh boy. Make a prediction though. What do you think's going to happen next? is she going to get to pet the black hole? I don't know if I would. Would you want to pet a black hole? Let me know in the comments. So what did you think about that story? Can you think of any connections to other stories that you've read before? Did any of them remind you of writing or plots that you've heard in other books? Or were they super, super unique? The thing that I really like about these Michelle Cuevas books is that they are super, super unique. A lot of them are plots that I've never even really heard about before. So that's why it's really fun to read outside the box a little bit. I hope you guys are having fun with these ones this month. I'll see you next time.